on this planet that needs to be made in order for us to be able to keep living here. Anyway, before we get started, it's a deep topic, and it's about what we as human beings can do to bring about the necessary transformations. So before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding into your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, your organs, and bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, energizing all your cells, all your molecules, all your electrons, creating this brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together. Very softly rub your fingers against your palms to feel the deliciousness of that sensation, the tickling, the tingling, and really feel the nerve endings coming alive, and allow that sensation to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Rosalind. So good to be here with you this morning. And welcome to everybody else who's joining us. So today we're talking about, is a shift in consciousness enough? And this conversation comes from a conversation with a client yesterday when we were talking about saving the world. And there are many who have a profound drive to be saving the world. Not that the world needs saving. The world will go on whether humanity does or not, but sorry, cat hairs. But to be able to keep the planet a place that is habitable to human beings, and to shift our relationship with nature and with each other and with ourselves, what is necessary is a shift of consciousness. And many of you know that I have a podcast called Sustainability Now. And when we wrote the foundation of what Sustainability Now is, we were talking about sharing technologies and paradigms to shape a world that works. And of course, the world, meaning nature, works despite our interventions. However, what we focused on are all different pillars of sustainability: food, energy, housing, waste, water, health, economics, and more, and consciousness, with consciousness being key, given that the foundation of any kind of change is consciousness and awareness. And so by shifting our consciousness, by shifting our awareness, we shift the potentiality that is available to us. We shift access. We gain or limit access based on our consciousness, based on our awareness. And until we create a shift of consciousness and awareness, we're not going to be able to implement the changes that need to be made, because we don't have the conscious will to be able to do that. So I think this is a really interesting question, because what came up in our conversation was, how do we change the world? And do we give ourselves permission to do things that might seem indulgent. So Rosalind says, shifting to awareness. If it's heartfelt, then it will create openness. Excellent, excellent. So what we're looking to do is we're looking to create openness for possibilities and awareness, like right relationship. And that's what I mean by that is not like right and wrong, but real true connectedness. And when you're talking about, Rosalind, is creating openness, creating connectedness. And what we have been culturally residing in is an atmosphere of separation and not recognizing the interconnectedness of all people, all things. And we do recognize that we are vibrational beings, that we are energy. Quantum physics tells us, we are energy. All this physicalness, it's kind of an illusion of some sort, right? Because really at the core of things, it's all energy. Good morning, Kimberly. So good to have you here with us. So we're talking about, is a shift in consciousness enough? So, or is shifting our consciousness enough? So we were talking about monks who spend their lives meditating. And are they making a difference? Are they transforming the planet? Are they helping to save the planet and save, like I said, the planet doesn't need saving. I get that, but save the planet for humanity anyway, or save humanity for that matter, from going headlong off the cliff that we're headed toward. So it's interesting because this conversation came around to, is it okay for me to be doing things that might feel self-indulgent or self-serving, like doing artwork or playing music? Is it okay to do that? And so here's the thing: if the things we do are raising our frequency, and we are part of this energetic continuum, then our raising our frequency is impacting the frequency universally. And so the monks that are meditating in the caves or wherever they're meditating, they are raising the frequency. And, it might sound super woo-woo, but the truth is that these things are now being documented, thankfully, where there have been studies where a bunch of meditators meditated in, I wish I had the specifics for you, but meditated in a city, and the crime rates plummeted. And there was no other correlation, no other kind of factor that would be influencing that. We know through the research that Dr. Joe Dispenza is doing with meditators that we have the capacity to radically impact our health, our well-being, and our environment, in that we have the ability to be manifesting and creating things that are kind of non-linear changes. So is a shift of consciousness enough? I don't think that it's everything, because we need to be taking action as well, inspired action. However, it's essential. It may not be everything, but it is essential to be shifting our consciousness and shifting our frequency, shifting our vibratory rate. to be elevating that awareness. And when we do that for ourselves, as we are part of this continuum of energy and being, then we impact the world. And so it may be that one of the best things that we can do to save the world, so to speak, is to be happy, to be at peace, to be in connection. You know, that maybe, just maybe, as we elevate our consciousness, we elevate our behavior. It goes hand in hand. I think that that's an inseparable consequence. You know, that as we elevate our awareness, we elevate our interactions. And as we elevate our consciousness, we become more aware of the calls for action and can step into those actions more explicitly and from a place of inspiration. So, in the face of the trials and tribulations that we face daily, with ourselves, within our communities, within the larger global community, within on the planet, with nature. When we fall into despair, we're lowering the frequency. When we are present to hope and possibility and joy and love and all the higher frequency emotions and awarenesses, then we are elevating the energy on the planet and elevating consciousness, which brings us, it's kind of like a snowball. You know, the greater the consciousness, the greater the connection, the greater the consciousness, and it just keeps rolling. So Rosalind says, it's natural to desire richer and deeper experiences. Embody what is true to self will attract and inspire others. I think that's true. Exactly. We talk about, Kimberly says to Rosalind, I'm on board with this. Big happy smiles. So that we know that a smile is contagious, right? We know laughter is contagious. So I have a friend and client who does laughter yoga. And it's remarkable. I mean, just by laughing, she just will laugh for no reason. And I can't help but laugh, you know. So when you hear someone laughing, it's like, we know yawns are contagious, but laughter is contagious. And smiles, you know, when you smile at someone, typically they smile back, you know, smiles catching. And so we get to see that we can, even if we feel helpless, to make the greater changes on the planet. I agree. Kimberly says laughter is the best medicine. Even though we may feel helpless, and it often feels overwhelming and impossible and dark, and one of the powers that we have that no one can take from us is our ability to shift our consciousness and to shift our frequency. And I don't mean happy while we're burying our heads in the sand, you know. So a while back, we had a morning talk talking about the problem with problems. like the limiting factor of perceiving the problems with problem solving, because problem solving is defining itself by the problem, and the problem, the thing that we're defining as a problem is something that's a function of a limited scope. So if we're trying to solve a problem, we're limiting our focus to that specific problem, and we're not looking at the bigger picture. And what we get to do is to create entire shifts of paradigm, entire shifts of perspective that enable us a broader view of an encompassing situation. And when we have that broader view, when we elevate our consciousness, when we release attachments and judgments, when we find ourselves accessing a greater and greater place of presence that is not dictated by all these judgments, then there are possibilities that become visible that would not otherwise become visible, right? And so too many thoughts all at once. So we have this capacity that we access to varying degrees to transcend our immersive, subjective, judgmental kind of experience. Like we may not be able to extract ourselves completely from that, although I believe that there are points of meditation where we do transcend that humanness, where we go, like Joe Dispenza says, no body, no time, no thing, no one. We get to a place of connection with the cosmic awareness or consciousness, the cosmic beingness that transcends our limitations, and that is the place of full and pregnant possibility. So as Deepak Chopra so many years ago said, the pregnant void. I love that. So Rosalind says, delusion versus illusion. Delusion versus illusion, a belief despite the amount of evidence versus a reality that is not yet visible. A delusion, see, to me, delusion and illusion are kind of similar. But let's see. And we have, as human beings, we have an incredible capacity to maintain our beliefs despite any amount of evidence, right? And so maybe delusion versus the imaginal. Okay, so what is imaginal? Imaginal is connecting our imaginations, which are enabling us to access something beyond the reality that's currently visible, to your point, Rosalind, and also connecting with a broader intelligence of the universe, to be able to be receiving sort of communications from the universe, to be able to be in that receptive mode where we become a vehicle for greater awareness or greater possibility. So that's really what we're talking about. And it's from that imaginal space where our imagination meets the mind of the cosmos, we'll say, that we are given, that we are graced with possibilities that came from beyond our constrained awareness. So, it's interesting that if we look at history, major inventions seem to manifest in multiple locations around the world at the same time from different people. It's almost like there's the thought or the idea in the cosmos, in the atmosphere, and then a couple people are the receivers, like the radio towers for those ideas. And it's interesting because these kinds of patterns have been seen throughout history over and over and over again. So it's almost like the consciousness of the universe is kind of putting these things out there and saying, okay, are you going to take it or not? I remember a story about an artist, a musician, and I don't remember who it was, but I know it's a name that we all know. And they would wake up in the middle of the night with the lyrics or or an idea for a song, and they would always get up and write it down and act on it immediately. And I think it was in an interview or something, someone asked them about this, and they said, well, if I don't take it, it'll get given to somebody else. And so it's like the thoughts are things, the thoughts are out there, they're things, and we get to be the receivers for those thoughts, and we get to then take inspired action based on those gifts that we receive by producing the song, for example. So while I don't know if consciousness in itself is enough, and it very well may be. It very well may be, because consciousness then informs action, right? So as we elevate our consciousness, we take different action, we behave differently. So whether or not it's enough, just to go full circle, it absolutely is essential. And if we're miserable, what are we doing to the overall energetics? So the bottom line is that we get to do things that make our souls sing. That's really what we came here for. Kimberly says Bob Weir gets these kind of things. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, so what we get to do is we get to do things that make our soul sing. And as we do those things feed out to others, in whether energetically or whether we create a beautiful piece of art, or we put our hearts into a piece of art and then someone else sees that and has an experience related to it. Whether it's a piece of music, people listen to music and are transformed and elevated. Whether it's walking in nature and communing with nature, the things that make our souls sing, that's what we came here to do. And the world needs every one of us. And I'm not saying to be disregarding of the rest of the world, but the notion that there are certain things that we have to do, to save the world. I think that we are part of a collective, and as we raise the energy of the collective, that's our greatest hope, to me. I mean, I am very much about the things that we can do to shift the balance of things on the planet. Um, and yet when we focus on the problems magnify, right? And so the thing that we can all contribute to heartily is this shift of conscious awareness. Good morning, Gia. So glad to have you here with us. So Gia says, hello, Mira, Rubin. I was listening to you and then realized you can't see my comments as it has to be through Enlightened World Network. So switched here. Love your earrings. Thank you. Thank you, Gia. I'm so glad you switched. And anybody else who's been putting comments in, please don't think that I'm ignoring you if you don't put them through the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. Thank you, Gia, for bringing that up. I don't get to see the comments. So yes, so I love these earrings too. I especially love the spiral because of the spiral of life. And that's really what we're talking about is the spiral of consciousness. And hopefully, and you know, that one of the most hopeful things that I had a kind of a revelation about recently was that, you know, quantum energy, the way that quantum energy works is you put energy into the system, keep putting it into the system, and then all of a sudden it pops to the next energetic level. It's not that it goes linearly, it just goes pop to the next energetic level. And I have hope that that's what we're doing with consciousness on the planet, that as more and more of us become more and more awake, we're feeding energy into that system. And at some point, it's just going to go pop and we're going to be at another level of awareness and connection. So with that thought, that's it for this morning. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page at 9 a.m. Eastern. So you guys wait till the end to put in your comments, and I barely have time to read them. Let's see, Kimberly says, yippee, breathe in the fresh air, find the beauty that surrounds you. I truly appreciate this conversation this morning. Rise and shine, sing, dance, and share your smile with others. Brighten up someone's day. Thank you. I'm hopeful too. Beautiful, beautiful, Kimberly. Thank you so much for sharing that. Rosalind, we weave in and out of the no body to creating. Feeling discomfort into the unfamiliar is akin to expanding and making breakthroughs. Exactly. Beautiful. Evolution is happening at the edges of our unfamiliar boundary. Absolutely. That's where the change really happens, Rosalind. Thank you so much for saying that, at the edges. So we get to go to the edge. And let's do that collectively. Let's do it individually. Let's expand our awareness and sing our soul song. So with that, so much love. And I really look forward to seeing you again here really, really soon.